I relied on others, including lawyers with many more years of experience than I, to provide me with true and reliable information.
Ma'am, what you just said you were listening to Rudy Giuliani. You shouldn't do that.
Able to see Michael Cohen? Well, I haven't seen him in years, and you know his record. His record is a horrible one. All you have to do is ask the Southern District of New York. He's got a horrible record, but they're just starting. But you'll see how it ends up. What about the testimony? It's not going to end up very good for him. What about
so wait a minute. So do we trust the Southern District of New York now and the people that they prosecute? Because that would implicate you. Wait a minute. So CBS is reporting a statement from Mark Meadows' lawyer that this ABC News story that I'm playing you right now is largely inaccurate. Here is Donald Trump being told he about to go to jail.
Go this way. All right, we're going to go walk to the press van. I'm not sure where our press van is at. There we go. Okay.
Right Side Broadcasting trying to cut away from the person with the bullhorn, yelling that Donald Trump is going to jail. Lock him up indeed, DJ Dub.
Let's go this way. All right, we're going to go walk to the press van. I'm not sure where our press van is at. There we go. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and toss to a commercial. We'll be live as we're here in New Hampshire. Let's toss.
And they cut to Mike Lindell.
I was on crack.
Right.
All right-wingers are little bitches, just like Jaden's a little bitch. One more time, I enjoyed that. Of course not.
All right, we're going to go walk to the press van. I'm not sure where our press van is at. There we go. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and toss to a commercial. We'll be live as we're here in New Hampshire. Let's toss.
Wow, they can't even expose their audience to heckling. And that's exactly what it is. They saw what happened to Fox News just for accurately calling the election for Joe Biden. They saw what happened to Fox News, even though they did a 180 and fucking sucked up to them and promoted the big lie. Right Side Broadcasting saw what happened to Fox News. They don't want to lose the Trump sycophant viewers. And if any little thing upsets the little snowflakes that kiss Trump's ass, they'll go away. Why might someone be chanting that Donald Trump is going to jail as if it wasn't obvious before today? It's even more crystal clear. The writing is on the wall. Donald Trump is fucked. Because I'm going to tell you about another one of his lawyers pleading guilty. And I'm going to tell you about his former chief of staff cutting a deal with the special counsel.
Breaking news in the special counsel's election case against former President Donald Trump. Sources telling ABC News that the former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, has been granted immunity in that case in exchange for testifying before the grand jury. So bringing us this story is ABC News chief Washington correspondent and co-anchor of This Week, Jonathan Karl. Thank you so much for being with us, John. So first of all, what more are you learning from your sources at this hour?
This is a major development, Kana. The world had been watching this case for what Mark Meadows would do. Mark Meadows was Donald Trump's chief of staff. He was at his side throughout that entire post-election period where Trump was trying to overturn the presidential election, one of his most loyal and important aides. And what we're learning is that he has told federal prosecutors that the election was not stolen in his view. In fact, he said to those prosecutors, we are told, according to our sources, that he agreed with the assessment that the 2020 election was the most secure election in American history. And he told prosecutors, according to our sources, that he repeatedly told Donald Trump that the claims of widespread election fraud that they were hearing, that were coming in, were not turning out to be true. So this is a clear
Justin, good evening.
Case, both in terms of the federal investigation into President Trump's efforts to overturn the election, but also, frankly...
Well, that is exactly what Mark Meadows did, was ran to Jack Smith. He had been trying to get his case in Georgia thrown out or bumped up to the federal level because I think he's always had this deal in his back pocket. We're just learning about it within the last couple of hours. But I'd say he's had this deal ready to go for quite some time.
In the political background as well, because if Donald Trump now has his former chief of staff saying that everything that he was saying, about the election being stolen, that he didn't agree with, that wasn't true. I mean, this is a major break with the former president by one of his most trusted and loyal lieutenants.
Right, at tremendous odds here. So, John, of course, at the heart of this, as you really talked about there, was the former president's baseless allegations that the 2020 election was stolen. And Meadows, according to your sources...
Good evening, Warlord.
The striking break from his boss's claims. The big picture, though, as you talked about, how does this play into the former president's legal challenges, of which there are many, which we will talk about?
He's facing, obviously, multiple legal challenges. He's got the case about classified documents.
We don't use the word bitch anymore. I'm banning the word bitch from chat. From now on, we call it being a Jaden.
He has the Georgia election interference case. He has this case. He also has the case up in New York, multiple cases in New York, one against his company, one against him for his alleged, hush money payments to Stormy Daniels. There's a lot out there. But this really gets at perhaps the most far-reaching...
This is the big one.
Case. That is that Donald Trump illegally tried to overturn the presidential election. So now here you have the person that was at his side, literally at his side, on January 6th, but also right there with him as he was going through all of these efforts to overturn the election. The famous phone call with Brad Raffensperger, the Georgia Secretary of State, where President Trump asked Raffensperger to go out and get him 11,780 votes, exactly the number of votes he needed to win Georgia. Well, that call was set up by Mark Meadows. The first voice you hear on that call is Mark Meadows identifying himself.
Once again, I want to point out that immunity, I'm pretty sure, unless Jack Smith has worked out something with Fonnie Willis in Georgia, federal immunity don't protect you from the state prosecution, which he has also been indicted in Georgia on election interference charges.
And bringing in the President of the United States. So Meadows has tremendous visibility on what was going on with Donald Trump during that entire period. And I've outlined for you through our excellent reporting by our team, including Catherine Falders, our reporter, detailing what he said about the election, what Meadows told Trump, or at least what Meadows has told investigators that he told Trump about the election. But this raises more questions. I mean, what else will Meadows testify to? He has, as we understand it, according to our sources, an immunity agreement an immunity order, which allows him to have immunity for what he told the grand jury. But Mark Meadows had closer visibility to what Donald Trump was doing in the final months of his presidency, I would say, than just about any other single human being.
And John, according to Catherine Falders in her reporting as well, she says that, Mark Meadows has spoken with special counsel Jack Smith's team at least 3 times this year, and that includes once before this federal grand jury.
Yeah, at least 3 conversations with the special counsel's team, the most significant being that appearance before the grand jury. And it was for that appearance to the grand jury that he has this immunity order, which means that he cannot be prosecuted for anything that he talked about to the grand jury. So, you know, significant. I'd be very interesting to see the reaction from Trump allies. But this is just the latest in a long string of people who were very close with Donald Trump, who worked with him to try to win that election, who worked with him to try to...
Warlord, do we have a Truth Social statement from Trump? Can you find that? Find out if we have one yet?
Challenge those election results that has now come out and said, in fact, no allegations of widespread fraud turned out to be true.
And John, while speaking with investigators, Meadows was specifically asked if Trump ever acknowledged to him that he had lost the election. We know that has been a huge sticking point in this case. And according to your sources in this reporting, Meadows told investigators that he never heard Trump say that.
We do indeed. Michael Cohen. No, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. No. Mark Meadows. We're gonna get to Michael. Michael Cohen testified in the fraud trial earlier today, and I think I might actually have video of Trump talking about that. No, I need a statement on Meadows.
Yeah, Meadows specifically asked.
I know all the M names and all the different charges against Trump. It's easy to get confused.
About what he heard from Trump on this. Said that he never once heard Trump even privately acknowledge that he had lost the election.
Right, and that could be key here, right, John, as we move forward, because they would have to prove, right, that he knew that he had lost, believed that he had lost, and tried to overturn.
No Meadows statement yet, apparently.
It's a complicated case. I wouldn't say that is a definitive thing that in terms of all the allegations of election interference, but it is a key thing that the special counsel...
Wait, he was talking about Michael Cohen 24 minutes ago? This Mark Meadows thing is breaking as we're coming on, but like it broke in the last couple of hours. So like I would think that he has already gone ballistic, but apparently he's still hung up on Michael Cohen's testimony from earlier today.
He's trying to establish is that Donald Trump knew that he lost and knowingly tried to overturn an election that he knew he had lost. And the way they've tried to establish this, and the January 6th committee did this as well, is showing all of the people in and around Donald Trump who told him point blank that the allegations of fraud...
Even Ivanka told him.
...turning out to be true. So now you have another person, perhaps the most important person yet, saying to prosecutors that, yes, he told Donald Trump that the allegations coming in were not proving to be we're proving to be baseless. So it's another piece of the puzzle, but no, Meadows did not testify that Trump himself ever even.
Wait a minute. So CBS is reporting a statement from Mark Meadows' lawyer that this ABC News story that I'm playing you right now is largely inaccurate. But this is coming from Meadows' lawyer. This is like we heard from the lawyer for Cheesebro last night. And he was also being coy. So, I mean, lawyers are paid to represent their client's best interest. I take it with a grain of salt. ABC News is usually pretty accurate in their reporting.
Privately acknowledged he lost.
I've also seen other people report it.
Of course, our thanks to you for your reporting. We appreciate your time. For more on this, I want to bring in former Republican Congressman from New York, John Katko, former Republican Congressman from Virginia, Barbara Comstock, along with ABC senior executive.
Rolling Stone is reporting it, but they might be citing ABC. CNN is citing ABC. So this is, as I said, this is developing. Okay, the Rolling Stone article quotes ABC News. The Guardian is also quoting ABC News. So this is an ABC News scoop. But George Terwilliger, also known as Sideshow Bob, said that he told ABC News that their story was largely inaccurate. People will have to judge for themselves the decision to run it anyway. So that's the latest that we have. ABC News saying that Mark Meadows struck a deal for immunity. Meadows' attorney is saying it's largely inaccurate. It's interesting that Trump, and this was apparently a retruth from Trump. It's kind of odd that we're not getting a Trump statement. Michael Cohen testifying in the civil case, the civil fraud case currently ongoing in New York City. That is where you saw Trump walk out of the courtroom earlier. Venus, I don't know if I told you good evening. So we saw Trump walk out of a courtroom. That was in the civil case that is currently ongoing clinically. Good evening. Michael Cohen testified earlier today in that case.
Michael Cohen testified as part of a civil fraud case against former President Trump and his company.
Trying to keep you straight on all the different
$50 million lawsuit. New York's Attorney General
legal exposures.
Trump inflated his net worth in order to receive business and financial benefits. Trump has denied all the allegations. CBS News chief election and campaign correspondent Robert Costa joins us now from outside the courthouse in New York. Robert, it's great to see you. What were some of your main takeaways from Cohen's testimony today? I mean, this is a man who used to be pretty much the former president's right-hand man.
Good to be with you, Ouija. Michael Cohen, Trump's longtime fixer, testified that Trump, in private conversation...
I'm sorry. Gaily going forward, I will correct myself.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
Encouraged him and other Trump associates to inflate his assets, including his properties like Mar-a-Lago and Trump Tower, and that Cohen and others worked at Trump's behest to do exactly that, to fulfill what Trump wanted, which is to have his net worth moved.
Locomotion, good evening.
At one point, Cohen testified today that Trump thought his net worth was $4.5 billion, but it really felt like $6 billion. And he wanted his aides and advisors to make sure that all of his financial statements got to that $6 billion number.
Well, during a break, Trump
$6 billion?
spoke briefly about seeing Cohen again. Let's take a listen and connect with you on the other side.
How do you feel to see Michael Cohen again? Well, I haven't seen him in years, and you know his record. His record is a horrible one. All you have to do is ask the Southern District of New York. He's got a horrible record, but they're just starting. But you'll see how it ends up. It's not going to end up very good for him.
So wait a minute. So do we trust the Southern District of New York now and the people that they prosecute? Because that would implicate you. So it's not a witch hunt. The Southern District of New York is on the level.
We're not worried at all about his testimony.
It's no surprise that Mr. Trump is not holding back, but I wonder how his presence inside the courtroom changes things, if at all.
It's interesting to sit there in the courtroom, as I did today, for a few hours, to watch the former president as he interacts with his lawyers. He can't say anything in the courtroom, and for Trump, that's an unusual circumstance, to not be able to speak out. Someone who is so often in public life, someone who is giving his opinion in many different ways, whether it's in a social media post or in a rally speech. Here in the courtroom, he has to be quiet, but he does shrug his shoulders. Sometimes he throws his hands in the air, but he does it in a way so he doesn't cause a disruption. So it's a very muted appearance by Trump. But he did not ever seem to look at Cohen much. They did not have much eye contact from what we could tell here at CBS.
So they aren't allowing cameras in for the actual proceedings, but they're allowing them in before and after and shit. So that's why we get these shots of Trump waiting for the proceedings to begin. It's fantastic. They just make him sit there and take it.
From what we could tell here at CBS News.
And he's seething.
I see tension in the room about what was unfolding as Cohen detailed all of this alleged fraud.
All right, Robert Costa, thank you again for joining us.
But I mean, they allow reporters in, so there are reporters in the courtroom. That's why we have firsthand accounts. What is going on? It's been a really, really bad day for Donald Trump. And, like, the start of it was first thing this morning in a Fulton County courtroom where the third lawyer that worked for Donald Trump pled guilty to election interference. Here's Jenna Ellis.
Thank you, Your Honor, for the opportunity to address the court. As an attorney who is also a Christian, I take my responsibility as a lawyer very seriously, and I endeavor to be a person of sound moral and ethical character in all of my dealings. In the wake of the 2020 presidential election, I believed that challenging the results on behalf of President Trump should be pursued in a just and legal way. I endeavored to represent my client to the best of my ability. I relied on others, including lawyers with many more years of experience than I, to provide me with true and reliable information.
Ma'am, what you just said you were listening to Rudy Giuliani. You shouldn't do that.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
Especially since my role involved speaking to the media and to legislators in various states. What I did not do, but should have done, Your Honor, was to make sure that the facts the other lawyers alleged to be true were in fact true. In the frenetic pace of attempting to raise challenges to the election in several states, including Georgia, I failed to do my due diligence. I believe in and I value election integrity. If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump in these post-election challenges. I look back on this whole experience with deep remorse. For those failures of mine, Your Honor, I have taken responsibility already before the Colorado bar who censured me, and I now take responsibility before this court and apologize to the people of Georgia. Thank you.
Cried in front of the judge. She pleaded guilty to aiding and abetting false statements and rottings. Prosecutor said she attended a meeting with Georgia lawmakers where Trump's personal lawyer and former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani made false claims about voting irregularities. How long until Rudy pleads? The meeting was part of an unsuccessful effort to persuade lawmakers to refuse to certify Biden's narrow victory in the state. So the plea agreement calls for her to be sentenced to 5 years of probation and hit with a $5,000 fine. If you knew you were going to get caught, you wouldn't have done it. That's the kicker right there.